So this is my review of the Get Juliet 2 e-bike. Beautiful bike, smooth as butter. The battery has a great lifespan. I haven't ridden it till death yet, but so far I've gone, 26.4 miles, and I've drained it from about 95% down to 73% battery. So it it really does it really does last quite a while. It does take a couple hours to charge, like it says on the website, but that's to be expected with such a large battery. Um, the saddlebags are amazing. I love these things. I haven't weatherproof tested them yet, so you could probably try and look at other brands, but their saddlebags that go with the bike seem to have been working pretty good for me so far. Uh, Good size. They're very secure. They've got a clip on the top. They Velcro on the sides. They've got two clips here, and then there's a flap on the inside that also is Velcroed. Um, pretty secure. Nothing's going to fall out of that. Up here, you can see the little digital display, little throttle up here. It took me a little bit to figure this out. I guess I'm dumb. I didn't understand the guide at first, but you get to enter the settings by holding these two buttons, and then you can go in and look through all this information. Sorry for the glare. But you can look at all the settings. You can set different colors. You can assign a password to your bike. And I'll show you that in a second, how it looks when you actually assign it, just trying to turn it on. But first I want to show you this light. Yes, it's pretty bright. Does a good job. I like the little tail light here in the back too. It blinks when you pull on the brakes. Overall, pretty handy, I would say. My last bike, I had to jury rig a solution to strap a flashlight on there, which hot glue and zip ties, it stayed on, but it's much nicer to have something that actually comes with it and works well. So that's a nice boon, I suppose. The shifter's been working pretty smoothly so far. Haven't had any problems. The brake and chain and everything works nice. The brakes especially. Oh my gosh, I've never had a bike with hydraulic brakes before, but these really work. I'm stopping this bike like I've never stopped a bike before, and it's not something I really thought I'd ever be excited about, but after having problems with mechanical brakes, it's refreshing to, the braking power, it is amazing. Big fan of them. They still grip on like mechanical brakes do, but they press in from both sides. I don't think I'm able to get a good recording of it, but they press in from both sides when you pull the brake, so essentially double the stopping power at least. Yeah, it's nice. I'm sure once I do start having problems with them, I'll have to figure out how to learn how to adjust them all over again, but not going to have the problems with tensioning the cables and stuff like you do with the mechanical brakes. So that's the plus side for me so far. What else? The seat's pretty comfy. I like it a lot. There's suspension right underneath it. Riding this thing, you can go over bumps and hills, little twigs, obstacles in your way. Smooth as butter. Hardly even feel it going over little bumps in the road. If I have to say one thing, I would say I'm sure the tires can handle it, but I would try and avoid taking a big bump if you've got your pedals all the way down. Because I think if you it wouldn't have to be a very big bump. It's hard to visualize this, but might be able to hit the bottom pedal. So I usually just ride with them out horizontal like that, feet positioned that way. If you're not actively pedaling, if you're actively pedaling, you probably won't have to worry about that problem at all. You're not going to be going fast enough to hit a bump at that much speed where you'd have to worry about hitting it. Your suspension's going to work plenty well enough. Like all e-bikes, especially the last one I had, this one's the same. Once you hit a certain threshold, the actual pedaling will not do much for you. This is only a 7-gear. You know, the power output of your legs is not going to, you're not humanly capable of matching the strength of this motor. It really has got some juice in it. That thing goes. Yeah, you're not keeping up with it. So once you hit about 20 miles an hour-ish, I would say, if you're pedaling as hard as you can, it's, you know, it's not going to grip. You're just going to be moving your legs. You can always turn the pedal assist down on the bike. It starts at 0 default when you turn it on, goes all the way up to 5. The lower it is, the less energy the motor will dedicate to assisting you when you pedal. Pretty on the nose name of a system there. But basically, the pedal assist will help you get up to a certain speed. So I just changed the speed limit on this bike. I'm not 100% sure what the exact speed limit for pedal assist 1 was. I think it was about 10 miles an hour with the speed I've got it set to. So you can pedal just fine. As hard as you want, you know, take it over 10. The motor won't help you once you pass that 10 mile an hour speed, just as a hypothetical. Which is, if you want to get exercise, is perfect, because this is it's a very heavy bike. I'll say that straight up. Honestly, I almost think its weight is a benefit to the bike. It makes it a lot harder for someone to try and steal it. It's much more difficult to walk away to. I would say if you are going to get a bike like this, or this bike specifically, because it's very wide, the distance from a section where you can actually put a chain to, from the main frame to the wheels, is pretty long if you want to get something towards the center. I suppose you could loop something up here through the spokes, but it's not a lot of space to try and worm something through if you've got a thicker cable or chain. So really the only best spot is maybe in here. And there's not too many amazing spots to cable to. But I would recommend getting a longer cable. What I was trying to say, ultimately, I personally have not actually, my cable is not long enough to get it around an object and the bike, because the bike's so wide. It's only a 6-foot cable. I can actually loop it through the wheel and the main frame of the bike, though, and that's worked fine for me so far. The bike is so heavy. If you actually lock the wheel in place, no one's going to be able to push it. And if you've got the password lock on the computer, they're not going to be able to turn it on to try and spin the wheel anyways. Of course, no chain or lock alone will be enough to deter someone if someone is really, really dedicated to trying to steal your bike. But if you're concerned about safety and theft, I would say that the weight is actually beneficial. It's much harder for someone to try and ride off on it without the motor going. And it's very, very difficult to lift as one person. I would say if you're going to buy this bike, and for the assembly, which was actually very easy, I will say, but for the assembly, I would say you'd probably want a second person or a stand or something to get that front wheel on, because that was a bit difficult to do as an individual. Hard to lift this whole front side up while trying to, finagle that bit. But yeah, overall, I would give this bike a 5-star rating compared to the last bike I had. Honestly, any bike I've had in general, I've owned about 4 or 5 now. This is the best one I've had yet. Would I say it's worth the price? Yeah, definitely. If you could get it on sale, that's even better. Hey, all to you. But for the price it's at, yeah, you get the power, you get the range, you get a nice back rack included. You can put a bag, something over the top of it, or you can set a basket on there. It's good. It's been treating me really well so far, and I'm certain if you treat the bike well in return, you'll get a lot of years out of this thing, as with any bike. Big fan. But yeah, 5 stars.